are we all today? How are we all doing? So we've got a fun topic for today. We've kind of covered it a little bit before, but not really in a ton of depth. So I figured it was probably a good one for us to jump into. Um, so welcome, welcome. I'll let you know more about all of that in a moment. But as always, would love to just start off hearing where everyone's from. Where are you tuning in from today? What is going on? I'm streaming here from the UK, and it's a very nice sunny day here today. It feels like we're in summer, which is nice. Which is nice. How about all of you tuning in? Where are you tuning in from? And what are you working on? What is kind of that pet project that you are working on at the moment? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Um, so, in case you haven't been to Rubber Duck Thursdays before, the vibe is well, fairly relaxed, as you can kind of tell. We talk a little bit about what's happened, the latest and greatest with GitHub, go through the changelog, look at all of the latest updates, and then we just do some coding. We make some stuff, we break some stuff, and we hopefully fix it and ship it. That's kind of what we do. So we just do all that live, do it as kind of a learning experience for us all together, and and yeah, all very relaxed and interactive. So please jump in if you've kind of tried any of these things that we're doing as well. You've got ideas, you've got thoughts and tips. Please shout, please put them in the chat. This is exactly what we're here for. Not just to learn from me, but to learn from each other. So that's what we do here. Um, so today, as I mentioned, we'll be doing the changelog. We'll be looking at what's kind of updated there. But then we'll be looking at Copilot instructions, custom instructions. It's a way to kind of help you, I guess, tune a little bit and direct and guide Copilot when you're wanting to get responses in a certain way, or when you want it to have certain context, or all of these kind of things. So that's what we'll be focusing on today, in a bit more depth than normal. So we'll do a bit of kind of experimenting on some existing projects that we've got. There's one project that we started. For anyone who's been tuning in for a good while, you'll know of the kind of game that we built in the GitHub CLI as an extension. And that doesn't have any Copilot custom instructions right now. So I thought that was a great opportunity to try it out. So that's what we're going to do today. So again, if you've tried that already, please let me know in the chat. Would love to kind of hear your experiences and what you've kind of learned along the way, and we'll get going. So good morning, hey Anish, thank you for joining. Bob from Cornwall, well, welcome, and hopefully it's sunny down on the coast as well. Welcome for East Coast AU. Wow, 7:30. Well, thank you for spending your evening with us, Mix. Appreciate you. Good. In which case, let's start off with some change logs, and we're gonna just jump around a little bit. Oop. I will get the correct one first time at some point. There we go. That's better, I think. No, I'm gonna go with that one. So it's full screen. There we go. Good. And hello, Sonia. Thank you for joining. So, what has happened over the last week in the GitHub world? A fair amount. So, first off, a week ago, we had some updates for GitHub Copilot code review. So it now supports C, C++, Kotlin, and Swift, and several other popular languages, it says as well. And there's a full list of supported languages in the documentation. So there we go. So C, C#, C++, Go, Java, JavaScript, Kotlin, Markdown. Oh, Markdown. Interesting. I guess, yeah, that's why I get so many spelling suggestions and typos and things when I'm doing code review. That makes sense. Python, Ruby, Swift, and TypeScript. And then public preview support for HTML and text. Cool. So, yeah, obviously expanding the number of languages available there now covers over 90% of the file types typically found in a pull request. So if you haven't been using Copilot code reviews, maybe now's the time. I just have a repository rule set Because when you enable repository rule sets, one of the options that you have in there is something like automatically assign the PR to Copilot code review or to Copilot, and then you can go and automatically get that review. So I've got that on a few repos now. And there's some times where maybe it gives a suggestion. I'm like, actually, I've made a certain decision to go this way, so I'm good. Thank you. Dismiss that. But there are so many times where it's caught typos, it's caught duplicated words, it's caught things which would have been bad had I kind of pushed them, and I just hadn't caught myself. So great to see Copilot code review there and the enhancements it's getting. So good. Improve the quality of suggestions. Now surfaces higher quality, more actionable feedback, and then by better handling low competence suppressed results. So good to see that. Yeah, this was an interesting one from last week that I saw come up. So now users can choose when you merge a linked PR. So let me come full screen a sec. If you maybe you don't know this, actually, maybe this is one of those tips that some people know, some people don't. Let's assume you've created a GitHub issue to go and do something. So maybe you wanted to go and build some unit tests, maybe you wanted to go and implement a new feature, whatever it is. You create the issue, maybe you do the work, maybe someone else on the team does the work, maybe someone from the community does the work, and you assign that issue out. Now, one of the good things from a general kind of software development, DevOps perspective, is this idea of traceability, that if you've got this piece of work, it links to this kind of change that you're putting into your code base. And so by default, one of the things you can do with GitHub issues and PRs is you can link them together. And some of you may do this if you ever type in a pull request, fixes, and then the hashtag, and then the number, it'll automatically close the GitHub issue when you merge the pull request. That's what happens. That's how it works. So what this is saying here is you can now choose whether you want to do that. And there is now a checkbox on the repository level for you to be able to kind of turn that on or off. It is enabled by default to preserve the existing behavior there. And why would you want that? Why has this come in? If you think about something like you've implemented the change in the PR, but maybe there's a bigger piece of work that it relates to, or maybe you want to go and do some kind of manual validations, or manual testing, or something like that. Well, turning that toggle off, turning that checkbox off, means it won't close that issue automatically, and then you can go and carry on the work and the updates on that issue as needed. So it's a nice quality of life feature, because some teams will want that, some teams won't. So it gives you the choice to work how you want. So a good update there. CodeQL improves JavaScript and Ruby analysis in version 2.21.1. So this CodeQL release coincides with the GA support for GitHub Action workflows. So I'm a big fan of that. I do a lot of work with GitHub Action workflows. I try and automate everything that I can. So I've definitely been using that one a lot. We've improved alert fix suggestions for the action missing workflows permissions query, making it easier for you to resolve. And again, that is another one just to be aware of, actually. Maybe we'll just switch back super quickly. When you're creating a GitHub Action workflow, at the repository level, you can set the default permissions that the token has. So when a GitHub Action workflow is created, it spins up. That workflow has some kind of token, some kind of permissions. And by default, it's either like a read or a write. And you set that at the repository level as the default option. But one of the recommendations quite commonly now is when you're creating your workflow files, there is a property called permissions, and then you can be very granular about what permissions you should grant for that GitHub Action workflow. So contents read, for example, does it need to go and clone from the repository? Or is it one of those workflows that maybe it doesn't need to touch anything with the code, and you just want to write to issues, in which case you would assign issues write. So this is what is kind of being said here, that they made improvements to that query and that alert there. So for you to detect if you haven't put that permissions block in there. So it's a good recommendation to go and do that. So you're not granting workflows more access than they need. That's really what that's saying. New detections and syncs in Next.js. Awesome. I've been doing a lot of work with Next.js recently, actually, on some projects. So good to see that. Fixed an issue where tsconfig files containing array literals and trailing commas weren't correctly extracted. Cool. And then it's been a while since I've done some Ruby, but we've improved the RB useless assignment to local query. So see low of false positives, RB initialize local variable query. Now only generates an alert when a variable is used as a method call receiver. The calls to super will now have their implicit arguments generated, resulting in more accurate analysis. Great. So summary there is more accurate analysis on the Ruby side, which is great to see. Good. Right. If you are using GitHub models, and I'm gonna just try and expand this video here. There we go. And let's go back. So when you use GitHub models, you've got this playground that you can go and use, and you can type in your prompt in the playground. So, tell me about the states and territories in Australia. And my colleague Damo doing this one. So great demos here, always from Damo. And you can see here, we've got the response, but there's now this sparkle kind of icon in the chat bar. And it allows you to improve the prompts that you've passed in. You can kind of tailor it as you like. And you get this pop-up UI here, which says what the current prompt is, and then you say what you would like to go and improve. So in this instance, it's not just telling me about the states and the territories in Australia, but actually we want a table with some key facts. So you hit that improve prompt, it goes away and thinks for a moment, and then it comes back with a richer prompt that you can go and use. So create a simple table listing all the states of Australia, include the following key facts, etc., etc. And then using that improved prompt, you can go and send that again back to the same model there in the GitHub Models Playground, and you can just see the difference in terms of the response that came back. So definitely recommend trying that one out, particularly if you're building any AI-based applications, so any applications with AI in them. We've heard of a few people on the stream in the past building things like bedtime story generators and other different things as well. And as we'll see today when we're working with Copilot custom instructions, like when you're building with your own applications, that prompt is so important, and what kind of context you pass in and how you frame your question, whether you're specific enough, whether you're kind of simple in your instruction, is all important in getting those predictable results back. That's what it's all about there. So yeah, good updates there for the GitHub Models Playground. For my friends using JetBrains, I know we've had a few of you on the stream in recent weeks. Copilot Edits for JetBrains ITs is now generally available. So if you are using Copilot Edits, great news, that is now generally available. So please go and use Copilot Edits. It is awesome. Dependable API now contains the has patch, I guess, filter, if you want to call it that way, in general availability. So if you're using the Dependable REST API to go and maybe understand some of those alerts that you've got open and you want to filter by the ones available that have a patch, so to maybe make it less overwhelming, so it's a bit clearer in terms of what alerts you should go and prioritize, then you can use that has patch kind of filter now as well. I keep wanting to call it a property or a label or something like that, but filter, we'll call it that anyway. That's what it's doing, I guess. So that's great to see. What else have we got? Dependable reviewers configuration option being replaced by code owners. Ah, interesting. I didn't actually catch this one. So to improve reliability and reduce review assignment conflicts, we're removing the dependable reviewers configuration option on Tuesday, May the 27th. I'm not sure I've actually used this one in the past personally. Let me know if you have. So yeah, when you configure your dependable version updates, I guess it looks like you've got this reviewers tab, and then you could list all of the GitHub usernames or handles then in that list. Whereas now, that's being retired in the dependable YAML config because it overlaps with GitHub code owners. Caused issues in the past, duplicated efforts to maintain the same functionality. Yep, fair enough, that makes sense. So moving forward, recommend relying solely on code owners for assigning pull request reviewers. Again, makes sense because it does a great job of that. That's what it was built for. So you can use a code owners file to define individuals or teams responsible for code in a repo. And it simplifies configuration. Okay, we love that. We love simplification of configs and things like that. So yeah, be aware of that if you are using dependable version updates and you have the dependable YAML configured on your repositories. So if you do have the reviewers configuration option set, then go and take a look at code owners. There is the recommendation. I did see this one earlier as I was scrolling through quickly, and I like this one. It goes back to themes that we were talking about a few weeks ago when we were talking about secret protection, and we had a really good discussion actually, just about why it's so important to protect secrets, how quickly that if they're leaked, that they can be problematic. And a leak, by the way, doesn't just mean public. I think that's often kind of the trap that we fall into. A leak could just be you've committed some of these secrets to an internal repository. And maybe there are teams now that have access to that, or folks who have access to that maybe shouldn't have done. But likewise, that secret is now in code. So if at some point we flip that repository to public and we forgot to maybe clean up the history and things like that, guess what? That secret is now leaked at that later point. So we had a really good discussion a few weeks ago about secrets and how to manage them, etc. So I really liked seeing this update, actually. So the credential revocation API, easy for you to say. I'm going to say it one more time. Oh, jeez. Say it all with me together. Come on. The credential revocation API. Very hard to say first thing on a Thursday morning. To revoke exposed paths is now generally available. So yeah, what was interesting, if you find a classic or fine-grained path on GitHub or elsewhere, you can submit a bulk revocation request using the new REST API. If it receives a valid token, it automatically revokes the token and logs it in the token owner's audit log. But if the exposed token was granted access to a GitHub org, it will no longer have access to the organization. So it also notifies the token owner of the revocation through an email sent to the primary email address. And it's interestingly an unauthenticated API available for all users on github.com. And to prevent abuse, this API is limited to only 60 authenticated requests per hour and a max of 1,000 tokens per API request. So yeah, really interesting. A way to kind of report, hey, I found this in the wild. Let's please revoke that token. Thank you very much. So again, nice quality of life updates. What am I not bringing back? I am not sure of the question. I am not sure what we're not bringing back. If you can provide more context, then maybe I can come back with that answer for you. So sorry, I'm not entirely following the question. SlideSwift, does the API support creating honey tokens, paths that will trigger an API notification if used? Google, AWS, and Azure support this. So not this API, SlideSwift. So I think this one is more about the revoking anything that you have found, which is a genuine token, and you want to go and revoke. Might not be yours, could be someone else's, but you still want to revoke it. I believe you can generate paths using the API, though. I personally haven't, but I believe there is an API for that. So I think that's your question. Obviously that would be an actual token. I guess when you're saying a honey token, what you're thinking is something like something that looks like the string and you want to detect if it gets it, or let me know. I'm curious what you're looking for there, because I don't want to second guess it. while we're getting those answers back, I see. Interesting. Oh, I don't know the answer to that one, specifically a honey token. You could generate a real token, but I guess what you're thinking is trying to find if there's actors and detect. I don't know the answer. I'll pass that on to the team because that's a interesting question. Yeah, I'm following your direction outside, Seth. Thanks for the question. Appreciate you. But yeah, I think you can generate paths in general with the API. I don't know if there's like a special token where it's like that honeypot kind of thing. As far as I'm aware, it would still be a token that you could go and use. Um, yeah, interesting question. Interesting question. Right. Moving on with the rest of these here. So, closing down code scanning alerts tracked in task lists. And maybe, yeah. So closing down code scanning alerts tracked in task lists. So we previously announced that GitHub task lists will be retired on April 30th. At this point, the ability to reference code scanning alerts on task lists will be deprecated as well. This means that code scanning alerts will no longer display tracked by information that refers to any task list referencing the alert. Okay, good to know. If you're using Mistral Small in GitHub Models, please transition to Mistral Small 3.1 to continue using the improved version with enhanced features. So, basically a model update there. Please use the latest models. And the last, but by no means least, a bit of context here. Let me start off with a bit of context. With GitHub Actions, there are different ways that you can go and run GitHub Actions. You can run them on GitHub hosted runners. So that is where the machine is quite literally hosted by GitHub. Then you also have self-hosted runners. So where you have like a machine maybe in your server farm, in your estate, maybe the PC on your desk, however you run that workflow runner. You can run self-hosted runners with GitHub Actions as well. But one of the ways that you can run these runners, this is getting very wordy, is using something called the Actions Runner Controller. And that is a project that is a Kubernetes operator. And it automates all of the deployment, the scaling, the lifecycle management of self-hosted runners in a Kubernetes cluster. So what that means is you can start getting this dynamic provisioning. So, a workflow spins up, a new hosted runner spins up in that Kubernetes cluster. So, if you've got that kind of need, that's the project that you would typically use. And now in public preview, so for a while, you've been able to run Dependabot on GitHub Actions, which I've really liked actually, because I then get to see the logs of what's running. I've got to pause a moment. I've got to bring this up on screen. Exactly, Mix. That's how I felt I sounded when I was explaining that one. I ran the runner to run the build run, but when I ran the runner to run the build run, it stopped running because the build run failed. Wow, I'm ama- I'm amazed I got that one first time. That's how I felt I sounded when I was reading it. Anyway, yes. So with Dependabots, you've been able to run them with GitHub Actions for a little while now. And now, what this announcement is saying when I bring it up on screen is now you can run those Dependabots updates using the Actions Runner controller. So, yeah, auto scaling, workload isolation, better resource management, all of those things. So if you're running self-hosted runners on Kubernetes with the Actions Runner controller, whether that's in cloud or whether that's on premises, the team are looking for feedback. So yeah, that is a great quality of life update there if you are using that. So let me jump back to the chat and see what has been going on whilst we've been talking about the runner build, runner builds type thing. Let's see. So, hello from Stockholm in Sweden. Hello, hello. Amazing shares. Thank you. Thank you for that, honey. Hello, Alan. Uh, hello, FM Afsan. Apologies if I incorrectly pronounced your name. Hello, Jack from Stockholm in Sweden. Uh, Thomason from Nigeria. Great. Well, welcome. Uh, Israel from Nigeria. Great. Welcome, welcome. And then the question, Slide Swift. So you don't need to keep all the production runners spinning on the weekends, save monies. Yeah, exactly. That's the intent behind the Actions Runner controller. But I guess with Kubernetes, of course, there's different layers when you're thinking about the scaling. So it's not just the runners themselves, because those are like the pods or the containers running on the Kubernetes cluster. The Kubernetes cluster beneath it will be scaling out or in terms of the number of VMs that it's using as well. So, you'd want to have that configuration on multiple places. But equally, I personally, for all projects I run, I just use the GitHub hosted runners because then I don't need to manage any computer infrastructure whatsoever. And it's all managed by GitHub. And, it has the majority of tools that I need. But of course, in some cases, in enterprise use cases, in some specialized projects, you'll need running within the environment, you'll need your own dependencies installed, all of those kind of things, and kind of tool chains and all those things. But yeah, exactly. It helps with kind of that scaling down, helping from a cost perspective, all of those kinds of things. So hopefully that helps. Good. Right. I think it's time for us to do a little bit of coding. So before we jump in, before we do anything, I have a question for you all. I would love to know how much you've used Copilot so far. Have you used agent mode? That's the kind of question that I'm really looking for. And on top of that, are you using custom instructions with agent mode? And maybe not even just agent mode, but are you using custom instructions with Copilot in general? I'll give you all a moment just to respond, because I'd just love to know people's experiences so far before we start jumping into this. Because I don't want to focus on areas where you all know, but then kind of miss out some people either. So yeah, let me know. I'm going to use this opportunity to have some drink. Okay, great, Slide Swift. So used Copilot for 1 year, a year ago. Don't know what agent mode is or the other configuration. Great, well, you are in the right place here. Thanks for sharing. To see what else comes in here as well. Yeah, so let's bring this up on screen, and I'll show you what we built a few weeks ago, and how it works, and what we did to get there as well. So there we go. Okay, so mix the pick. You've used edit mode recently, not used agent mode at all yet. And then Slide Swift, context window was too small for meaningful feedback. Does this fix that? I think the thing with the context windows is that's always increasing with the new models coming out as well. So I think let me bring this off screen a sec. What the custom instructions helps with is getting more consistency, all of things that are repetitive across all of the requests that you're going to make to Copilot. So think of it as coding guidelines. Think of it as the standards, what is in the repository, all of those kind of things. That context to kind of help Copilot understand, right, this is what I'm working with. Because when you think about it, when we're working with a project, there's a lot of implied context that we have as humans that maybe AI tools don't have that. So we need to specify some of that. So this is how custom instructions can help. So it's kind of, in a way, I like to think of it as part of that wider prompt. It's just the prompt that I'm sending the individual chat message might be to do with one task, but then along with that is like this package of information that's being sent along. So I'll show you that in a sec. It'll make more sense. Okay, a minimal usage. Got it. Hi from Paris. Welcome. When you mentioned about security concerns, I definitely say take a look at the. There is a website called the GitHub Copilot Trust Center. It lists all of kind of the common questions that come up around all of that. So I definitely encourage you to take a look at that to answer all of those. So I'll see if I can find that in a moment to put in the chat for you as well. So let me jump back to the full screen here. So this was actually something that I built a few weeks ago. And would you believe I built it based on this image? So studying an MBA, this was kind of a model that we learned about to go and analyze different opportunities and threats and those kind of things. And I was like, hey, I want to go and build this, but as an interactive app. So I used Copilot with agent mode and with vision. So took a screenshot of this and sent it to Copilot. And then after a fair bit of iteration to get the user interface and everything right, I've built this. So, we've got this kind of dark or light mode toggle. It uses my system themes. So I'm in light mode right now. I can go and load existing diagrams or save them. So I could say something like AI models getting better. The likelihood of that happening is highly likely. The relevance to me is high. How prepared am I? Well, I think I'm kind of prepared. And you can see how, we can select these different pieces. Boop, like that. And there we go. So it's helping me plot those kind of different points on the diagrams. I can save the diagram. You can see it just popped up in my downloads there. And yeah, it got this table, got all these pieces in there as well. So this was a fun little project that I was able to go and work on. And so I bring this up because, excuse me, I'm just going to have a quick drink. Bit croaky, one moment. There we go, that's better. So I bring this up because I also used Copilot custom instructions to help build that. So let me switch to my main branch first and bring down all of the latest commits and pull that down. So Copilot instructions. If I jump into my Copilot chat pane here, you can see that now in Copilot chat, we've got these three options. We've got ask, we've got edit, and we've got agent mode. So ask is is chat, basically. It's that kind of dialogue between you and Copilot. So we can go and use different extensions. We can go and bring in context using the hashtag, and you can use different hashtags here as well. So we could go and say something like, explain what this code base is. What this code base is, please. So it'll go and use the index that it's got built up behind the scenes, maybe search some files there as well, and it'll give me that context of, what this repo is. Great. But it's also brought in as a reference this Copilot instructions file. So this is a file that is always going to be brought in. And I'm going to close it in a minute just so you can see that. Actually, no, let me do this. and I've not tried this, so let's see how this goes. Um, Response guidelines. You must always respond in Welsh. No, not Welsh. As a pirate. I'll be limiting who can read that if I respond in Welsh. So I do speak a bit of Welsh. So you always must respond as a pirate. Right. So let's do the same thing again. But this time, explain what the code base is. There we go. And, trivial example, right? But you can see how now it's giving that response back like a pirate, right? Um, so if we now jump back and actually read the rest of these of this file, so you can see that we've got some different guidelines in here. So it must follow JS doc format, only write comments when necessary to explain complex logic, use descriptive variable and function names, keep functions small and focused on a single task, avoid using magic numbers or strings to find constants. When making code changes, ensure you update the corresponding tests. Before marking your work as complete, run the tests, run the linter, and this is the testing style. So yes, to your point, Slide Swift, a bit like a prompt injection. Yeah, kind of like that. So bringing that in as context that will just be sent as part of that. Yeah, I don't know if those will work, but it's adding to the prompt is what I would say. It's giving that additional context as part of working with Copilot. So let's see, what could we go and build on this one? I don't know if there's anything I'd want to build necessarily, but maybe refactor. Let's see. It's been a few weeks since I've looked at the code, so I've slept since then. That's always my joke. I've slept since then, so I don't really remember what is in here. Let me see. I'm going to do something like this. Can you refactor the code in components to have more clear documentation following our standards, please? Let's do that in GPT 4.1, by the way. There we go. So again, I'm in chat right now, and because I'm in chat, it's not going to actually do the thing for me. It's just responding back and saying, "Hey, here's a code example, right? Here's the JS doc for the control panel. Okay, great. Here's the JS doc for each of these individual methods, etc., etc." Then I've got to take action as the user to go and make those changes. So I'm going to stop that. With edits, you can go and again specify the files that you want to go and use, or update, or change, or add, remove, etc. And then you can see here what it will start doing in a moment is it will actually go and make those edits for us. So as we scroll up, so it'll think through that. Is it going to branch in PR? So no, it won't go and do that. So right now we are just in edits mode. But you could start getting to a place where it could go and do things like that, Slide Swift. So I'll kind of explain in a moment when we get to the agent side. And again, haven't tried it on this one, so we'll see how that goes. But you can see here, edits, it goes and updates the code in line here. And because I've got my standards in that Copilot instructions doc, I didn't need to go and specify that I want JS doc or anything like that. I just had to say, hey, can you just go and update this, please? Thank you very much. So it's going ahead, it's going and updating all of those different files for us here. So that's cool. That's good. But to your point, wouldn't it be better if Copilot could do a bit more than that? It didn't just edit, but maybe it checked over things. Maybe it ran the tests and the linters and all of those things then as well. Maybe it created a branch and a PR. So if we switch to agent mode, then we can do the same thing again. And it's similar to edits. It'll make changes to the files, but it has more capabilities. It's able to access tools. So it's able to access things like the terminal, being able to kind of write commands. It's able to go and, for example, run tests. So I don't know whether it will as part of this. Again, this is kind of the non-determinism of AI, and this is where having those custom instructions can help us bring some more of that predictability by using things like these Copilot custom instructions. So right now you can see it's just reading a lot of context about how the files are currently set up. And then it'll go ahead and it'll go and make some changes. So yeah, is it going to branch and PR? So at the moment, no, because I haven't told it anything about that. I haven't given it any standards to follow around that at all. But could I say before you start any work, you need to create a new branch or something like that? That could be something that we could put in the custom instructions file, possibly. With the PR example, until very recently, there wasn't really a way of raising a pull request with agent mode. The way that you would do that is by the way it wasn't really something that was an option. But now GitHub has released the GitHub MCP server. And what that means is it now has access, the ability to call, using the model context protocol, call this MCP server, which has those capabilities. So creating pull requests, creating issues, reading issues, all of those kinds of things. So you joke, can it make you paper clips or can it practically brew you coffee? What was it, the one that Burke did? Burke used a MCP server to hook into the notifications on his Mac, so Apple notifications, I guess, and was able to push a notification when Copilot agent mode had finished working, because he had something in there saying, whenever you finish, send me an alert to let me know that you're done. So then he could kind of run something in the background and then come back to it when it was done. So that was just an interesting kind of use case there. So, just going to jump the, yeah. So it just came back and said it couldn't do a couple of things there based on its analysis. So I just said, please proceed with what it can. Will it understand the greater GitHub project structure, branch protection rules, requirements for merging? At the moment, no. I don't think there's anything in the GitHub MCP server to bring that context in. Looks for some reason, I might try with another model, actually. Let me try the cloud. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't have any context of things like that, unless you explicitly put it in the custom instructions file. The structure itself, like the code base and kind of what's in the files, what's in the repo, etc. Yes, because it's indexed, so it understands that. Branch protection rules, requirements for merging, no, it wouldn't understand that. That's something you probably need to put in, or hopefully at some point the GitHub MCP server would support something like that. So those would kind of be the two options. And you're asking the right questions, though. It's all about thinking, what context does that agent need to know to get the job done? And so that's kind of the question you're asking is, well, what does it know based on kind of code that's indexed and things, the custom instructions file, or the tools that it can call as well. So that's where it gets interesting. So we can see here, kind of similar to edit so far, that it goes and updates the files. So it's updating my ring diagram component with a nice. It seems like it's duplicated the comment there for some reason. There we go. It's and this is the beauty of agent mode compared to edits. It spotted it, so it added those 15 lines the first time around. Can I get back to it? There we go. It spotted what it did the first time and went, I apologize for that error. Let me go and remove that. So it's gone and updated that in there as well. And this is the beauty of these agents is they start, being able to kind of look back over their work and going, oh, I wrote that code, but it doesn't pass the test. Let me go and update the code to go and work on that. Whereas with edits, we have to kind of check the code, run the test, go back and forth. So it's this tighter loop of working. And I've been using Copilot Agent Mode a ton over the recent weeks and months, actually. There we go. So you can see how this is all kind of being added in and kind of working here. Now, of course, how you kind of prompt all of this is important. Now, I'm not sure that it's going to run the tests and run the linter, even though I've got it in my Copilot custom instructions file, because I've got it something like before marking your work as complete, run all tests to ensure everything is functioning as expected. Run the linter to check for any styles issues. Like, I could maybe be a little more direct about that. I could maybe be a bit clearer in my intent with that, in terms of how I want that to go and work. So, what does marking your work as complete mean? Can it add types to your TypeScript? Yeah, absolutely. I have, in fact, I'm going to switch over to another project. Maybe I'm not. Oh, I know where it is. I think I put it there. There we go. This is another project that I've got. And this is what I've got in here as a line. Use these TypeScript interfaces and types for all. Use TypeScript interfaces and types for all props and data structures. And I think in another project, and I need to work on bringing some of my instructions together a bit more because I don't think I added it in just yet. I added something like, if you need to define any types, define them centrally in like this lib folder, lib types, and then reference them from there. If there's any existing similar types, evaluate whether you can use the existing types there or whether we need a new one for separation of concerns and things like that. So you can start getting really granular in how you want Copilot to write your code. And yeah, this is where it can help with things like agent mode. So here we go. Follows JS docs, blah, 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 blah. Let me just try and nudge it. You've made some changes, and I think your work is complete. Are there any checks that you need to execute based on your instructions? Obviously, I'm really kind of pushing this here, right? That's on me, though, because I don't think these lines are as clear as they could be. There we go. Yes, based on the instructions, I should perform a few checks after making code changes. Run lint. And you can see we can go and run that. It brings up the terminal here. Copilot is running that. Mhm. 80% of the fun of TypeScript is battling obscure edge cases. The types, getting there faster is a win. There we go. So there we go. We can see there's a parsing error. There's an expected semicolon. Now, what Copilot should go and do at this point is go and fix it. So it goes and read the lines. there we go. We can see that 251 to 271. And it should go and update that. How much debugging can an agent do? It has access to terminal, so perhaps some limited running code of tests. 100%. You will see it running the tests in just a moment. And I've had it so many times where my tests will fail. It will go back and it will self-heal on that. The issue is more complex than it thought. Huh. Okay, I'm going to see where this is going now. But here it is running the tests. Let me just close that a moment so you can see the tests. We got a failure. Good. Really changed to get a failure. So I don't think my live tests are failing. A linting error and several tests failing. Where was the test failure? Here we go. We're getting into live coding. Gotta love it. Let's see. That's in ring diagram test as well. Interesting. Because of the missing semicolon. Huh. Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. Right. Let me fix the D3 style syntax. Cool. So, to your question, Mix the Pick, we're seeing the debugging live in action here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make this chat pane a bit bigger so it's easier to read. Okay, so I think it's fixing that one for us. Just going to go back to the main file here. There we go. Rather than looking at a diff. Right, did we fix it? No, it didn't add in the semicolon yet. Copilot could debug hard languages like C using tools like strace, grep, or valgrind. I'll be honest, my familiarity with C is very dated. I haven't used C in, about 12, 13 years, so it's been a while. But if it's a command line tool, you can install, you could try with the Copilot custom instructions to go and use that tool. Because it's just doing npm run test and npm run lint here. Why are you trying to run tests again when you haven't made any changes? Oh, stuck in a bit of a loop here. This is fun. I was curious if it's going to recognize that and try and fix. But in fairness, it might be because of the initial prompt that I sent in. I just said, hey, we've got this quality text we need to go and run. So maybe I've backed it into a little bit of a direction here. Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of looping around on those. So let me try this. Let me undo that. I'm just going to run that manually. Go with 3/7. We have failing test and failing. Please, can you go underneath? Run the test. Enter. There is indeed a syntax error. Now I'm going to go and read that file. Hmm. Indeed, you got it, Slide Swift. It didn't seem to add it in, did it? Is it line 659? That's... No, it did do it. Okay. Let's run the test. Oh. Because we've got more instances of that, I guess. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, we'll probably move on from this project because what I wanted to show you was actually writing some of these custom instructions files. We've kind of gone in circles with the tests, which I just need to fix anyway. That's on me. So what I wanted to show you was this gh-game project that we had from a few streams ago. It's been a while since we've looked at this one, actually. And right now, it doesn't have any custom instructions file whatsoever. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one and see how it kind of updates the code that we're writing. So copilot-instructions.md needs to be under this GitHub folder here. So from there, we can start writing what the what the context is. So this is a GitHub CLI extension written in Go. Well, do you know what? Based on Codebase, can you write a custom instructions file includes an introductory paragraph training, what project is, what circuits built in. So let me check back my examples that I like. Code standards section with subsections focused on right before each commit, styling. Actually, styling isn't needed because that was for Tailwind on the other site. So, for the Go CLI, we're not using that. We also need to add in Go patterns. Go doc, I guess so. And then development flow. The development flow section, which includes the commands to run for build, etc. And then repository structure and key guidelines. Repository structure section, giving the primary folders the repo. 5, any relevant key guidelines for new projects. Right. So this is a bit meta, right? We're going to try and get Copilot to write the instructions here for us. So based on the context of the code base, can it write the custom instructions file, an introductory paragraph, code standards with a subsection on what's required before each commit, Go patterns using Go doc, development flow section, build test linting, the repository structure, so it knows what is where roughly, and then any relevant key guidelines for the project. So let's see how it goes. Oh, and I did that in Ask. Never mind. You know what? I'm gonna do that again. Do it in Edit. There we go. While that is going, hi Manisha from India, welcome. Hi Musa from Sweden, thank you for joining us here today, folks. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. All right. Let's see what we got. So it's a GitHub CLI extension written in Go that allows users to play various games, coin toss, through the GitHub CLI. It's built using Go and the GitHub CLI extension framework, leveraging the Cobra command library for CLI functionality. Is exactly what it's doing. Very good. Right, all tests must pass Go test. Yeah. Code must be properly formatted. Yeah. Linting must pass. Yes, it must. And I like this one. I'm going to add something in a moment, actually. Following standard Go idioms, best practices, use Go doc comments. Yeah, very good. Error handling should follow Go conventions, return errors rather than using exceptions. Good. Use meaningful variable and function names. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what is this setup? Okay. So it's gone a bit literal with that one. I'm going to update that. But again, you can see how we've used Copilot to help accelerate us creating these custom instructions. So let me do this. Let me just do build is going to be go build, test, lint, format. I don't know if I want it to run anything. Because it won't necessarily have. I mean, that could be interesting. let's see where we get to. Right. Now, what I wanted to do, required before each commit. If we are adding a new game or substantially changing an existing game, please make sure to update the README. Because what I have in the README is a list of the games and the commands that you can go and use to run them. Obviously, if we're adding new games, I would like to go and add those in too. So, coin toss, rock, paper, scissors, tic-tac-toe. Remember the sparkle icon here to help you generate your custom commit message there. So let's just double check that one more time. Follow standards, yeah. 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 Good. Okay. Within user experience, games should be intuitive and easy to play, provide clear instructions and feedback, handle errors gracefully with helpful messages. New games should be added as subcommands to the main GH command. Good. Maintain consistency in command structure and naming. Fine. Yeah. Unit tests. Yeah. Oh, it added that in there already. Right, we don't need that line then. Where did I put it? Just get rid of that line. Include usage examples for each game, document complex algorithms or decisions. And versioning, follow semantic versioning, major minor patch. That one's not relevant because I'm not getting it to say anything version number, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, right. Let's add that. Now the question, folks. Oh, my camera is frozen. Uh-oh, give me one moment. There we go. We're back. The question is, what game can we make that would work on the command line to kind of show this in action? So we've got tic-tac-toe, we've got rock, paper, scissors, and we have got the coin toss. Hangman could be a good one. Hangman could be a good one. Guessing game, yeah, exactly. Hangman could be good. Guess the secret number. Yeah, I was thinking like a higher or lower kind of thing as well. Let's see. Let's go with we're going to switch over to agent mode. And let's say, can you make a game? So now you can see, literally not asking anything else apart from, can we make that game? It's laying out its steps here, right? This is what I'm going to do. We'll create the internal directory. We'll create the command directory. That's just understanding how some of the other games are made. So tic-tac-toe, coin toss there. And then it checks how they're registered in the root command. It's doing the type of thing that we as devs would do, is kind of look at the current implementation and go, right, how is that all working? What's kind of the convention here? Let me go and follow that. A vibe coding daily horoscope, a vibe coding rubber duck horoscope. There we go. I love that we're theming it to the show, folks. Thank you for humoring me. I appreciate that. You can see, by the way, that when Copilot is responding, it's using that reference there. So it's got this Copilot instructions file that it's bringing in, which is the one that we just made there as well. So first, I'll create the internal Hangman package. So that is like the internal package which contains the internal logic. So let's have a look. So it implements a text-based Hangman game where the player guesses the word letter. The title style, word style, correct, incorrect, guess, remaining, the word to be guessed. Okay, so I mean, it's pre-generating words, fair enough. Like, we didn't tell that it shouldn't do that. New game, guessing a letter. Okay. If the word is revealed, is letter. So there's like a guard function there to check that we are just entering letters and not getting the remaining letters. There we go. And then I guess maintaining a list of letters that have been guessed. Okay. Anyway, that's one example. It's a little stuck on something. No. It's trying to run. It's trying to run the CMD. Okay, well, there we go. Definitely in there. Build. Formatted, imported, and not used. Good, that's progress. Definitely not used. No, it's not. Very good. And you'll probably see it self-heal now, I guess. Yep, so it removed that in that file. Good. Build. Good, it built successfully. And so the tests run. Oh, there was a failure. And the failure was expected game to be over after guessing the final letter. Expected player to have won after guessing the final letter. So it looks like the win conditions are not correct there. Mm, the test. Oh, so it looks like it's just doing a replacement of the file. A bit far down. Unused import, that was earlier. This suspension it probably sets up the game state, right? So it didn't the game state correctly. Okay, fine. There we go. Test passed. Formatted the code. I mean, it could run the linter. I might just stop it if it's going to go down this path because you get the point. There we go. Right, there are some errors in there, but you get the point. They'll go and run through those. It'll self heal. So let me do this. That's a four-letter word. Which one is going to be the four-letter word? So we can cheat. It's going to be fork or gist, isn't it? Or pull. Maybe. Let's start with our. Go. Good. So that works. That works. We've got that working game. What else? We also said the higher or lower game, didn't we? So let's do the same thing. Can you make the game higher or lower, please? Oh, and let me just start this again. And this time I'm going to close those files so we don't have the context there. Try that. Hello, hello for everyone joining in from Peru, from Turkey, and Kiev, Central Standard Time. Yes, that is early. Hello from Brazil, Sweden, and from Ivory Coast. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see. So where are we at? So again, we're taking a look. So we're creating the higher or lower game. Simple guessing game. Or an existing code structure. Yeah, and that's what it's doing. There we go. Right, we've got our higher and lower. I now have a good understanding of the project structure and patterns. Make the game. But you can see just based on the quality of that custom instructions file, how it's able to kind of go and read the context, understand what else is in the project, and have a reasonably good shot at implementing that. Then using those tests, using the linters, using those other things to then start working towards where it needs to get to there. So created the higher lower internal package. Yeah. It could. And then We've got the test then as well. Oh, so it's added the command to the kind of the root entry point, higher and lower. And this is kind of the command to how to go and run it. I didn't check earlier, by the way. Ah, well, actually, in fairness, I'll give it some credit. I was going to say it didn't create the README entry for Hangman, but I stopped it before it got to that point. You know, it was still trying to lint and everything. The documentation, I guess, would have been, at least if I was doing it, would be one of the last things that I would have done. So, in fairness, that was me. So I will say that was me. That one. Hey from Tunisia, from India. Ah, okay. Well, yeah, give Copilot a go because we've got the Copilot free tier as well. Don't forget that. And yeah, as you can see with the agent mode and the custom instructions, there's a lot of good stuff in here. So give that a go. Hi, Dave. Good to see you. What are we doing here? I wasn't following. It seems there might be some issues with files not being created correctly. Oh, oh, I know. I need to save the files. I'm going to run them again. Oh, what was I doing? Go run test, go test. And there we go. That worked fine. No, I think my is Copilot Enterprise Light Swift. I think that's the license I have just because being a GitHub. I think it's is it 50 chat messages, 2,000 completions you're getting free? Why light theme? Because I was doing some demos the other day and they were asked to be in light themes. So there you go. There you go. Love that. It even ran the game with an input itself. Wonderful. Loves that. Oh, and now it's going and adding some color to things as well to the app. Hmm. Yeah, great. Then so you added that line. Uh, it is gonna be this one, I guess. Let's see. In here? No. Oh, it wasn't here. Yeah, so it's adding the colors in. So incorrect style, correct style, guest style. There we go. It's making those updates as we go. Nice. The title, the number, the correct, the incorrect. Yes, the streak. Cool. So Said, I think the with visuals, I think like anything, it kind of comes down to two things. It comes down to the prompts that you're using. It's like, what are you asking for in terms of visuals? Um, let's check that runs. Two colors though. Um, it depends what you're asking for. So are you being clear in what you want in terms of the visuals? And are you? Oh, I know why it didn't do that, because it didn't build it, did it? Right, it did build it. Okay, we'll have a look in a minute. The other thing that it comes down to is which model you're using, because yeah, I've seen in kind of the tech kind of sphere, uh, different models have some of the different strengths as well, and I'm sure some people are reporting some models were better with creating UIs than others. Um, so that's what I would say is experimenting with those different options there as well. Um, I'm going to get it to run the linter behind the scenes, and we're going to go play some games. So, ch uh, ch game higher lower, and then let's do 50. Oh, sorry, higher lower. Oh, higher than what? We got to start with a number. Current number is 3. The next number is 4. Okay. So I need to, yeah, I need to slightly adjust how that beginning one works, because we're kind of inputting the higher or lower before we even start, which feels a bit unfair for the player. But we're on 54. Oh, that's horrible. Lower. Oh, 48. Yeah. Lower. Oof. Oh, I'm back to 48 again. I suppose there's no reason it couldn't. There we go. We got 5 in a row. This is like coin toss all over again, isn't it, folks? So those of you who have been around, we do have to do our coin toss game. And of course, we don't even get one. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Does GitHub let you use fine-tune to bring your own models with agents? Don't know is the answer, mixed pick. I saw something in the latest VS Code update, I think, about bringing your own models. I might be wrong there though. Because I'm normally using the kind of models that come as part of the kind of Copilot subscription. I don't know is the answer. I'd need to get back to you on that. I'd say have a look at the latest VS Code updates. Take a look at insiders in particular, because then you'll kind of see the latest and greatest that is kind of coming out there. But off the top of my head, I'm not sure, I'm afraid. Now let's see. Right, what have we done? It's done some linting things. Oh, we're going to run the linter. Oh, I love this. Patching things which have been deprecated since Go 120. %, Slide Swift. This is such a wonderful point. When we're starting to think about agents, the beauty is breaking down a task into those smaller tasks that then an agent could do. So, rather than like, let's rewrite the app, what does that mean? How do you kind of scope that? So, let's migrate the app from one language to another. Okay, well, let's work on this component, this component, this component. Let's go and do these things. Or let's build this new kind of service. Let's build the back end. Let's build the front end. And then you kind of decompose those tasks even further. So, yeah, it's how you scope that work is very important. I don't think it's updating the file. Oh, no, it's not. It's not saving it for some reason. I think I've changed some settings on my on my VS Code here because it doesn't seem to be saving the file. I think that is actually a Chris issue because there we go, 0 issues. It will continue. We fixed it. Maybe please continue. Anyway, we've been going for about an hour and a half. You can kind of see the idea here, though, with agent mode. And the thing that I wanted to get across was how important those Copilot instructions files are. Because you can see just how well it's been able to kind of scaffold out these new games just by giving it a bit of information about the repo structure, about the standards we're expecting, about the fact it can run linters and tests and all these things as well. And it's able to, basically loop around as a developer and kind of run those things. There we go. So running the linter. In fact, that's the all of the things solved for higher and lower, isn't it? There we go. I think we've just about solved that one, if I'm reading right. It's exactly that. Mix the pick. Exactly that. The more you put in quality-wise instructions, the more you get out quality-wise. Exactly that. Can Copilot agent mode run tasks in dev containers, or is that on your device? Honestly, Slide Swift, I have not tried. I have not tried. Oh, I think I understand your question though, because you saw the dev container in my repository. That's just because it's a bit of a standard I set myself that whenever I'm creating a repo, I always have a dev container there so that someone can easily spin up a GitHub code space and it has all the tools there for them. But if you opened up your VS Code environment in the dev container or opened up in a code space, then when you're using agent mode, it has access to those tools. So kind of yes. I don't think it's like calling into another container, if that makes sense. It's operating within that context. So hope that helps. Hope that helps. So, yeah, I think as I was just doing there we go. I think it should hopefully wrap up here because we've got no linting issues, no tests, got working build. It wants to go enhance it a bit more. I'm going to stop it there, just because we have been going for about an hour and a half here, and so it's probably time for us to wrap up. So, anyway, so what we've done in this session, we have taken a look at Copilot custom instructions. We have kind of seen how we started with some custom instructions which were okay, but there was maybe some room for ambiguity. It wasn't, there's opportunity for improvement on the other project that I kind of showed and was working on. And how when we write these really detailed instructions that, with the repository context, what folders are in there, what exists where, what is the repository there to do. So this one, it was a GitHub CLI extension, building games. With all of that kind of context and how we work and the standards we expect, we can then get some pretty rich experiences, not just with Copilot chats or Copilot edits, but with Copilot agent mode as well here. So yeah, great experience. Hopefully that's been useful. Keep me updated. How do you plan to go and use custom instructions? What are you going to go and try it on first, and how are you going to be using agent mode? Let me know, please, because I would love to see what you do as a result. And otherwise, it's time for us to wrap up. There will be another stream later today with Kadesha. So take a look at the GitHub YouTube channel for more info on that. It'll be on LinkedIn, it'll be on Twitch. But the reason I say YouTube is you can go on the kind of live tab and see what streams are pre-scheduled and what time that'll be. That'll be later today. So with that, we'll be back again next week. So thank you for joining, as always, and we will see you next time. Now, folks.